What's up, everyone? Hope your day is going well so far. Would definitely be going a lot better if we didn't have this sea of red that we're seeing in the crypto market, but we got a few pieces of surprise news this morning that the market did not like. It caused things to happen very quickly, a bunch of liquidations taking place, and we need to talk about whether this is going to be more of a long-term retracement. Is this kind of a big nothing burger? We're seeing some actually ridiculous levels right now that people need to be aware of. Is this all Jim Cramer's fault? So we're going to discuss all that and more. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell, it's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So it all started this morning when we got our PPI report. Now, here's the thing. The PPI reports, they tend to not have much impact in the markets, why we didn't pay a crazy amount of attention to it. We weren't talking about it much. Does not usually carry as much weight as things like the CPI report or the jobs report, right? But the problem is the report this morning was terrible. And the market clearly reacted to that. So we actually came in at 3.3% inflation increase over the last 12 months compared to the 2.5% expected. So yes, that's a miss by 0.8%, almost a full percentage point. That's a pretty big deal. And obviously the market freaked out, as it usually does, and we saw massive amounts of liquidations take place. In fact, it came to a point where it was $400 million worth of liquidations across the crypto market in a 20-minute period. We actually saw $1.04 billion worth of liquidations across the crypto market over the last 24 hours. So yeah, this was a pretty sizable day. And guys, that was very much weighted to the long side. It was about 80% on the long side. So that's not a fun thing, right? So of course we saw retracements in BTC, Ethereum, ADA, pretty much any coin you can pick and throw a dart at. It saw a bunch of red today. Now the good news is that at least at the time of filming this video, the market has somewhat stabilized on this news. And what I will say is this really isn't going to have much of an impact on our rate cut decision come September. There are too many other pieces of data that are giving us the green light for rate cuts. Does this maybe change, the likelihood of a 50 basis point decrease? Yeah, maybe a little bit, right? We're still going to have a lot of pieces of macro data that come in between basically now and then. All right, we're still going to have PC report later this month, jobs report next month, CPI report, PPI report, and we're not going to have another PC report before then, but you guys get it. There's a lot of data that we're still going to have to go through before we get to that meeting. Now, the other piece of news that was a little bit of a surprise this morning was Secretary Bessent, I can't remember if I'm ever saying his name right, Bessent actually came out and said that the US will not be buying Bitcoin. Now, that is a huge surprise, and it completely goes against what has been hinted at and pointed towards by this administration for quite some time. In fact, they've been exploring ways that the government can, in fact, accumulate more BTC through purchases, not through this, what's it called? I don't want to even say stealing, right? I'm losing, my words are escaping me right now. Between the acquisition of it from illegal behavior. That's gonna be the way I'm gonna say it. So the market didn't necessarily like that news either. And maybe this is all smokescreen. Maybe this changes as time goes on, because again, it is going to be mostly up to Congress to determine how we can, in fact, acquire more BTC through the government. But the market didn't like that news either. So that's kind of where we're at now, and we're just kind of waiting and watching and digesting and seeing, are people going to capitulate on this news, or are we going to plant our feet in the ground and start to see some extensions to the upside, right? Now, I will say, Jim Cramer is somewhat to blame here, because he made a post yesterday saying it doesn't seem like the bullishness is going to stop today. And then lo and behold, we got into the evening hours and started today's daily candle, and then that's when it happened. So shame on you, Jim Cramer. But anyways, obviously I'm just joking. He has nothing to do with this, but the inverse Cramer is clearly still in full effect. Now, this is where we sit currently. We currently have $207 billion worth of open interest in the crypto market. That's a new all-time high. That is a record. What we have seen is short interest chase prices down in terms of BTC, in terms of Ethereum, in terms of almost any asset you look at in the crypto market. So now all these assets are heavily weighted to the short side yet again. So we almost had an extension, maybe I don't even really want to call it a bull trap, because we had some news that triggered the opposite direction. But now we've gotten to a point where we're once again in a little bit of a bear trap. Sure looking like it. But we'll have to watch and wait and see how the market reacts again. As long as the market does not overreact, we're going to be just fine. Again, the big thing I will stress here is a lot of things are working in our favor. The charts are working in our favor. These retracements actually came down to strong technical levels for almost every asset in the market, which is a great sign. And it's a question of confidence now. Now, I will say we did actually just see Robinhood enter the top 200 in terms of crypto app downloads. So we'll wait and see if retail is going to take advantage of this dip, if people are going to be accumulating. But that's all I got for you guys. Appreciate you as always. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.